Hi everyone, so I'm here to talk about this cushion foundation. It's the TIRTIR Mask Fit Red Cushion, and the shade I have is 13N Fair Ivory. I have very pale skin with kind of cool yellow undertones, and so when I had originally seen this, probably on Michaela's TikTok, they did not have a shade that would work for me. And then I saw somebody else showing that they had expanded the shade range. They included a couple deep shades. And so I thought I'd check back, and they had something that looked like maybe it could work for me. So I went ahead and bought it when there was a little bit of a deal going on. I purchased it through Amazon. And before I get too much into it, let's just take a look at the swatches, see how it compares to other things in my collection. All right, so this is the TIRTIR Mask Fit in 13N Fair Ivory. And next to it is the new MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NC5. The old NC5 was darker than NC10, but this NC5 is lighter than NC10. This one's a really good undertone match for me if I'm going for something a little bit darker, which is a little bit easier to wear. Lancome Teint Idole Ultra in 95W. This one I feel like the undertone matches a little bit closer, and it's the Maybelline Superstay, the Skin Tint in 102 Fair Porcelain. This is obviously lighter, and I haven't swatched it in a long time. It's the Smashbox, what do they call it? Studio Skin hydrating foundation. I don't know if they still make that formula. This is in 0.1. And then another one that I feel like is quite similar to the TIRTIR is this Lancome Teint Idole Ultra in 90N, which this is like 3 or 4 formulations back before they started putting alcohol in the formula. I only have a tiny bit left. I have to kind of scrape it out of the bottle. And again, these are a little bit on the darker end. The undertone isn't quite my undertone. I go for more of that like cool yellow undertone when I can get it, but it is still wearable. I'm okay with wearing all of these on my face. So this is a little bit like on the darker end of what I wear. I do like light to medium coverage. I'm not trying to cover my freckles. I'm 44 years old. I have some like visible pores. I have wrinkles where things kind of will settle in and crease. And I would say in general, makeup does not sit on my face very well. I'm always kind of fighting it. And so any sort of like, it will just like enhance the texture. A lot of foundation will enhance the texture on my face as the day goes on, especially. And so as far as the shade, the color goes though, you could see there that is a little bit on the darker side, but it is wearable. In the lighter coverage, I'm looking more to match. I'm not always looking strictly to match my neck. My neck is very pale, and when I go that light on my face, sometimes it can be a little more stark than what I am looking for. So a lot of times I will go kind of in between. You know, I have redness on my face, I have the freckles, and so my face is quite a bit darker than the rest of me. And so I'm just looking a lot of times to kind of take down the redness, even out my skin tone, but not necessarily go like full on to my neck. The Lancome Teint Idole Ultra 95W is one of my favorite shades. Just it's a little bit also kind of on the darker side of things, but the undertone is such a good fit for me that it really helps with the redness, and the tone really kind of goes with what's going on with my neck. This is a little bit more on the peachy end of things as opposed to that cool yellow. It's still totally wearable. Like, it's so similar to the Lancome 90N, which is also kind of a little bit on the darker side of things and more peachy, but still wearable. So the shade I think is fine. On my face, I don't think it quite oxidizes the same way it does in a swatch on my dry arm. It does get a tiny bit darker as it dries, but it's not a huge amount. I have not seen any issues with it oxidizing throughout the day. It seems to be once I set it, it is staying that color more or less. My big gripe with it right away is that the fragrance is very strong. And when I first put it on, the first day that I wore it, the dermatitis that I have around my mouth and nose and whatever is you know, it's obviously a very sensitive part of my skin. And the first time I put it on, it did sting a little in those areas. I think they had been peeling, and so they were a little bit more raw, I guess, than usual. And so this time, I feel like that area of my face is doing a little bit better. I did not experience any stinging. I didn't notice any difference of like flaking after I had worn this. I was concerned that the ingredients might like make it kind of irritated and flare up a little. I didn't notice anything like that, but I haven't worn it enough times to really say whether or not it seems like it's going to do that. But definitely big thumbs down on the fragrance, because that's going to be a problem for people. And yeah, it's a skin irritating kind of an ingredient. The coverage is so much that I have a hard time working with it in a way, just because the cushion applicator picks up more product than I am used to handling with that kind of coverage. So as you could see, sometimes I would like dab it in, put it on, not much shows up. Then with the seemingly same amount on the cushion, applicator, sponge, whatever we're calling this thing, I would put it in, and then it would be like solid coverage. So then I'm trying to like spread it out all over my face, as you can see in the demo. So this is definitely a little bit more coverage than I normally am going for, which is kind of, it's definitely a learning curve. I've only used a couple of cushions in the past, and the ones that I did use were lighter on coverage, so it didn't matter so much because they were kind of working with the type of coverage that I like to wear anyway. As far as the wear goes, I'm still kind of trying out with different skincare underneath, but it seemed to do something similar to something that I showed in the swatches, which is the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint. This also doesn't wear nicely on my skin, and it's kind of a problem in a way that's not super common for me, where it doesn't get patchy, because that's definitely something a lot of foundation does do to me, is get really patchy on my chin. Doesn't do that, but it does look heavier and heavier throughout the day. So it's kind of like, I think what it's doing is just like settling in kind of weird ways around like anywhere where I have like looser skin or wrinkles or more visible pores. It just seems to kind of like, the texture seems worse, and it's just, it doesn't seem like it's creasing so much as that it just makes the texture look worse, and I'm not really sure how to describe it. Anyway, let's just take a closer look here. So today I set it with the NARS Light Reflecting Setting Powder Pressed, which is my favorite setting powder of all time. I did wear kind of like a glowy SPF today, the e.l.f. Woe Glow in Sunbeam, I think it is. So I really have to like press it in to try to get it to kind of go into all the textured areas. So like around here and here are the areas where I feel like, and around my nose, are just, it might be due to the fact that I was wearing like a thicker layer of product than what I'm used to. I feel like you can see kind of the color difference here. Like my hand, quite a bit lighter. So like I said, you know, my face just does not wear much makeup well. So I think it might just be that I had more coverage, more product on there than I'm used to wearing. And it just sits funny on my skin as the day goes on. That could definitely be it. Because I do feel like I don't have, like I already said, I just don't have the control and experience and whatever. So I might try using like just a regular sponge with that, which will kind of dilute it a little bit, it being damp, and pick up product in a way that's not like, it's like the cushion applicator is kind of like a smooth surface where you're not getting it sinking in to the sponge in the same way as you would with another kind of sponge. So it's probably more efficient with product usage, but since I have so much makeup, that is not a concern of mine. But yeah, that I might try that just to see if I can get a little bit more easily get a lighter coverage, kind of thinner layer of it, to see if I like how that wears throughout the day better. So I definitely will be trying that out. Other than that, I feel like that kind of covers it. The fragrance, coverage, color, wear. What else could we talk about? Let me know if you've tried this out and what you thought about it, what color you used, if it works for you, doesn't work for you. If you are paler than me, they do have another shade, but it's like more pink toned. And based on the swatches they showed online, I thought that this one looked a little bit lighter than the more pink 13 shade. So that's kind of a bummer. It definitely is not going to work for everybody. There are people that definitely need, prefer, want, must have a really pale shade, and I can get away with darker shades, and this is not going to work for those people. So that is kind of a bummer, but I'm not super surprised. I'm just honestly, I'm glad at least that they did open up the shade range somewhat, though they need to fill in a bunch of blanks at the end of the shade range, because having two deep shades that are like huge jumps between each other and the rest of the shades, no bueno, right? So anyway, hopefully they'll continue expanding. They had a really fast turnaround, you know, based on how like super hyped up this product got because of Michaela, and I'm sure other people. I don't really pay attention to a whole lot going on with TikTok and makeup. Actually, very, very little, and very, very little on YouTube as well. So I'm super out of the loop, but I am very glad that they opened up the shade range within a few months, I think, of it getting super hyped up. So hopefully they will continue to expand the shade range, especially on the deeper end. And hey, if they could throw us a bone and put a few lighter shades, that would be lovely as well. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I always love hearing from you. I hope you are having a good day, and I'll see you soon.